I've been praying for this for years. What's going on?
There was a point in my life where I truly felt that prayer doesn't work. You start to look outwardly like something's wrong. Maybe I'm believing the wrong thing. But then I had to realize, or I had to learn that I was praying ineffectively. It's not that prayer didn't work, but
We grew up believing that prayer was simply asking, right? Because the Bible says, ask and you shall receive. And I think we take that way too far. And prayer has become a form of asking God to do 1,000,001 things that we want him to do for us. Welcome to the NOIRPOISED podcast, where wisdom is power is more than just a motto.
it's our way of life. Do you think you're honest with yourself? Just a follow-up question on that.
Yeah.
Do you think you're honest with yourself about everything, even the spiritual?
Yeah.
The reason why I ask that is I think there are millions of people all over the world. Deep in their hearts, they feel like their prayers are ineffective, but they refuse to allow themselves to think that
believe
way.
it.
Yeah. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt like your prayers were ineffective?
Yeah.
There was a point in my life where I truly felt that prayer doesn't work. You start to look outwardly like something's wrong. Maybe I'm believing the wrong thing. But then I had to realize, or I had to learn that I was praying ineffectively. It's not that prayer didn't work, but I was praying ineffectively. Have you ever had that experience as well?
Of course, yeah. We grew up believing that prayer was simply asking, right? Because the Bible says, ask and you shall receive. And I think we take that way too far. And prayer has become a form of asking God to do 1,000,001 things that we want him to do for us, right? Rather than looking at it more so as a conversation, or more so for me, a confirmation. So I definitely did experience that, where I was like, I've been praying for this for years. What's going on? Right? Or like, I mean, as Haitian Americans, I'm sure y'all can relate. Your parents have been praying for good health. They've been praying for a house. They've been praying for more money. They've been praying for deliverance for their family members, to make it into the States. You know, like all of these prayers that may or may not have happened. And similarly to them, there were things that I was praying about. And I'm like, so when is this going to happen? Because I feel like I've been diligent and I've been, faithful, or whatever the case is. And as soon as I started praying differently, I started seeing results. Now I don't see prayer as I'm asking God, but more so I'm aligning my work with my faith. And it's more of a confirmation, or some people do affirmations, right? So now when I pray, I speak more in authority versus, please do this for me, please do this for me. Or if I'm asking God, and this is how I view the asking you shall receive, I never ask for materialistic things anymore.
Why is that?
I don't ask for things that I can touch with my fingers, because I understand that the physical is only a representation of the spiritual. So whatever that is occurring inward is naturally going to come outward. So I don't ask for God for an opportunity, for a job, for support, or whatever the case is. I ask God for more discipline, more patience, peace of mind, things that are inward or internal. And then when I work on those internal things, I naturally see the results. Because I've heard a lot of people say this growing up in the faith. How is it fair that people who don't believe in God are the ones with success, with riches, with all of the things that are physical, right? And because of that, it naturally made some of us think that as a Christian, we're meant to suffer here on earth. Boy, oh boy, I do not believe in that anymore. I think it was a way of coping with some of our realities. So we've been taught that, like, the people who got it like that is because the enemy don't see them as like as a threat. The reason why we're struggling is because we're a threat, so we're constantly attacked. I do not believe in that anymore. I think that's just a form of coping with our reality a little bit. So I had to really think about it and realize that it's not because the enemy's not attacking them. No, it's because they're constantly working on themselves. Even though they may not have the faith or they're not doing the praying aspect, life is cause and effect. If you train your body every day, you're going to build muscle. If you eat healthy every day, you're more likely going to be healthy, right? Cause, effect. I think that's a part of Christianity that we do not push enough. And I think that's why we're the ones that end up with the poor diets and bad health, right? We end up with the finance issues. We end up with, the begging mentality. And that's because we don't work on ourselves. We haven't been taught to work on the internal aspects of ourselves. We've learned to pray and fast and think that everything else will fall into place. If you're praying and fasting about good health and you're not doing anything else, guess what? It's not God, sis. It's you.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I had to take into consideration. And the minute I shifted my mentality on that, I started to see prayers coming into light. Because it wasn't about getting the materialistic things, but it was about getting the internal things that's going to lead me to the materialistic
That
things.
reminds me of something I heard that's powerful, and I want to make sure I say it correctly and I explain it correctly. But a guy said prayer lost its power when we started directing it externally versus internally. Kind of like what you're just saying, where we have adopted prayer as begging. God, do this for me, versus, no, I know I should be able to do this. Let me just meditate and see how I could figure it out. There was an instance where somebody who I know was sick, and it was a whole bunch of us praying for this person. We even had other people come and pray. And someone came and prophesied and said that God's going to heal this person. So, of course, we're believing and all that. A few days later, that person passed away. Everyone, including myself, was shocked.
Discouraged, maybe.
Was very discouraged.
Yeah.
But the way we coped with it was just saying God's will be done.
We do that a lot.
And I've watched my parents and loved ones say that their entire life. That's a way of us coping, and we're not realizing that we're not praying or actively doing things in power. So whenever we lose, we just think, oh, I guess it's God's will be done. And we spend our whole lives doing exactly that.
Yeah. I think prayer has made us lazy. I'm speaking for myself, but I'm speaking to y'all too. Growing up in church, there's a lot that's taught, and I'm grateful. I tell you all the time, I'm grateful that I grew up in the church because I think it saved me in many ways. But there's a lot that you grow up and you have to unlearn because you realize that it keeps you in a box. And to be quite honest with you, from my experience, I feel like prayer, or at least prayer in the concept that they've taught us to do it, makes us lazy individuals because they literally tell you, pray and fast, the rest will come to pass. Pray and fast, the God hears your prayers, it'll happen on God's timing. And don't get me wrong, all of that is true. Things do happen on God's timing. I believe in that. I do believe that praying and fasting definitely works, but what we don't realize is the fasting, in my opinion, is for clarity. Fasting, in my opinion, is not necessarily to get what you want. It's to provide you with clarity so you can then move forward on attaining what it is that you're asking God for, right? God provides guidance. God provides protection. God provides, he opens our eyes, in my opinion, for clarity, right? And it's our responsibility to do the work that's going to get us there. Yeah. So the fasting, in my opinion, is a form of cleansing, right? So that way we can be more in tune. The praying is more so the affirmation, or I say for myself, the confirmation. But I've learned the importance of speaking or at least praying in a way that's not necessarily, I want this specific thing. I want this specific thing, but more so, this is what I desire. If it aligns with your will, show me the direction that I need to take to obtain that specific thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense.
And the fasting then provides the clarity as you're going through the journey of attaining that specific thing. But I don't believe that God hands out anything.
Yeah, I think
personally.
That's to what you're saying about how we used to view the worldly people as, how come they get all these things and we have to struggle.
Right.
The main difference is we're waiting.
They're working.
They're working. And I wanted to
very,
pull up
very true.
I wanted to pull up a scripture real quickly, because everyone knows, "Ask, you shall receive."
Yeah.
I used to love that verse.
Listen, we always choose we choose these verses that sound nice, and we just carry it for the rest of our lives.
But look at what these two verses say: "Ask, and it shall be given you; seek, and ye shall find; knock, and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be opened." So we focus on the first part, asking. That's just the first part. After asking, you got to go looking. After looking, you have to do some kind of action, whether that's knock on a door or something.
I was just about to say, for me, what I got from it is the works aspect of it, right?
And I think that's where a lot of us fall short, is we just ask, and we think prayer is just that part.
That's it.
We're doing our part. I used to think the same way. I'm doing my part. I'm asking God, I'm praying for hours and all that stuff.
Right.
And when I don't get what I'm looking for, I feel some type of way. I had a dream when I was a kid that really changed the way I see things. The dream goes, I was in school and the rapture started happening. I was being called up to see the Lord. And it felt so real in the dream. So I just started thinking like, wow, it's happening. It's happening. I was floating like 10,000 feet up in the sky. But as I'm going up, I started to feel unworthy. I started to think of all the things that I've done and said, and I started to fall back down. As I'm falling back down, I started praying. God, please, I'm sorry. Please don't let me fall. Please don't let me fall. I'm sorry. I believe in you. I believe in you. I heard a voice out of nowhere as I'm falling saying, "Don't believe, just know." So as soon as I stopped believing and I just knew that I was good, I instantly started going back up. And I woke up from that dream transformed, because I saw that we shouldn't be believing. We should be knowing. Like, I know you're on the couch next to me right now. There's no doubt. In order for you to believe, you have to have
a little doubt.
some doubt.
That's deep.
And there's been so many different studies. Like, there was a study where they told a set of people to work out a couple times a week, and they told the other set to just think about working out a couple times a week. The group that didn't work out, only thought about working out, their muscles grew a little bit.
Deep.
Just by thinking about it, just by believing that, no, I am actually working out now, just to show you the power of our perception and where we're coming from.
Yeah.
One of the key issues, in my opinion, is when we approach prayer, we approach from a begging aspect, a believing aspect, saying, "God, please do this." I mean, we grew up in a Haitian church, where when they're praying, they're crying out. Like, it's help me, please. I'm begging you. I know you can do this. Just do it for me. I don't know what I will do if you don't do this for me. I've learned a different approach where if I'm entering prayer, the first thing I'm doing is feeling like I already have what it is I'm having.
Confirmation. That's what I mean when I say confirmation. That's funny. Yeah.
So let's say someone's asking for money. Instead of going to God or getting on their knees and praying, "Please, God, give me more money," they should approach it as, wow, I already know there's a way out there for me to get more money. My job is to figure out how that way.
I do it?
I already know there's a way. I already know it's possible. I just need to figure out the how. I think that alone will transform a prayer.
I agree. Speaking of which, there was a video I ran across where the woman was kind of talking about praying and how we've been doing it wrong all along. So we're going to play it so you guys can see and let us know what you think. I don't remember everything she said in it, so I don't know if I agree with everything, but I want to play it because I feel like it is very powerful to think about.
If prayer is quantum technology, then here is how we pray. Because prayer was never meant to be begging, pleading, or convincing God to intervene. That is literally just not how the mechanics works. Prayer is quantum technology, and it's how consciousness communicates with the field. But religion trained us to pray from lack. Please help, please fix, please save, and we're always waiting. But Jesus modeled a different way. He prayed from alignment, and he didn't ask hoping it would happen. He spoke as if it already was, and that's coherence. In physics, observation collapses probability. In neuroscience, belief plus emotion rewires the brain. And in scripture, faith moves mountain. It's all the same mechanics. It's the same mechanism. So prayer works when your body, your heart, and your mind agree on the reality that you're tuning into. You don't pray for something. You pray from the state where it already exists. Gratitude comes first because gratitude signals certainty. Calm comes before words because regulation stabilizes the signal, and prayer is not asking God to come to you. It's aligning yourself with the field that God already lives in. And once you understand that, then prayer will stop being repetitive and it starts being extremely effective, and your life will change from the inside out. So how do we pray? Let's break it down. To pray for yourself, an old way may look like, God, please help me. I don't know what to do. I'm struggling. But the quantum way sounds like this. Thank you for already stabilizing my nervous system and guiding my next step. I choose to trust the clarity that's forming right now. I am open, receptive, and supported. This works because gratitude and trust collapses uncertainty and tuning into guidance instead of amplifying lack.
That was deep.
Mad deep. When I ran across this video, I was like, you know how sometimes you can't put your thoughts or your feelings into words? Remember, I sent it to you. I don't know if you watched it that time. But I was like, yo, she's saying everything I've been learning over the past few years. It was great to see someone summarize it in the exact way I would love to say it, but I don't know how to say it, but I've been explaining to you, like, basically what I said in the beginning of the episode, right? When I say, like, prayer for me now is more so confirmation. It's literally going to God in a way like, yeah, I know this is going to happen if it is your will. It's all about me being led throughout the journey, so that way now I have more clarity to see the opportunities that I need to take versus I want this job. Please let me get this job. I sent my application. It's a different type of prayer. And I've seen so much changes, and not just changes in a sense of like doors are opening. That has been happening as well, but more so a level of peace, a level of alignment, a level of certainty. Like, I feel like my faith has expanded on a different scale now.
You're not just going through life. You have an opportunity to actually dictate what goes on in life, and you have more power than you once thought was true.
I think that's kind of true. I'm trying to think of the right words, but the word that keeps coming to my mind is actually authority in a weird way. And it's funny because growing up in the church, they tell you, like, you don't have the power. God has the power, right? But we also know that God breathed life into us. So with him, I do have the authority. Just like when you're in church and they're like, things are manifesting. You have the authority. Why? Because God has given you the authority. So why don't we view it that way in all other areas? Why do we have to move in a way that makes us feel like, oh, no, I'm less than. But like the minute it's time to chasser un démon, we like, no, bon Dieu, bambou. Like, it's the same thing. Sorry for the non-Haitians, but it's the same thing across the board. Like, I feel like we pick and choose what we want to use and how we want to use it. Like, when it comes to like seeing the goodness of God here on land, it's no, we're not meant to be rich. Like, oh no, we're suffering here, but we're going to get our riches in heaven. It's just like, nah, bro, I don't believe in that anymore. And I honestly think being in that frame of mind and believing that is what keeps us there, is what keeps our people in a state of poverty, in a state of cycling through life, paying bills and not being able to get out, move forward. You have all these dreams, you have all these desires, you have all these things that you want to do and be, and you keep praying and fasting for decades and decades and decades and decades, and you're not seeing anything. The problem is you. That's what I had to tell myself. I had to literally be like, it's not God. It's me. The problem is me. I'm approaching God in the wrong way. Thinking that like his job is to give me things. No. His job, in my opinion, is to guide. I think that's definitely true, to guide us. But we have the ability to get everything we want should we choose to and do the work to do so. And that, in my opinion, is the reason why we look at people who have done it and are able to do it and they're not in the faith and we're like, how is that fair?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? They're doing all of these things. Yeah, they may not have the faith in God, but they have the faith in themselves.
Yeah.
They have the certainty and the faith in what they're doing, and they're diligent in what they're doing. So what more can we do if we do the same thing and then with God having our back, like with the discernment and the intuition and the guidance, there's nothing, we're unstoppable.
Yeah.
Right?
I feel like I want to take it a step further and say that everything you absolutely want to do, you've already been equipped to do it.
Facts.
So I hope no one takes this the wrong way, but there's a portion of me that feels like most of the stuff we go and seek God for, we don't even need to.
That part.
You already have the answers.
I'm sure God looking at us like, didn't I give you? I gave you the ingredients. Make the soup.
Anybody who has kids, or at least a young kid will understand it. Sometimes you show them things, and then they come bother you. Can you do this for me? Like, I showed you already. You can do it. Just take a moment, rethink about it, and you'll be able to figure it out.
Right.
I think it's the same way where we all have the answers within us. God is not biased where I'm going to bless you, I'm not going to bless you. One of the things that I hated people say, more so like, Haitians, because we grew up around them, is Bonjour by Munsakai. God gave this person a house.
It's just like,
this
you
person
don't see
is
the
probably
work
not
that was
ready
put
yet.
into
It's
it.
like, no, you don't see the work that was being put in by this person for years. God is not just sitting there saying, you get good health and you get bad health. And you get a house and you live in poverty. No, we all have the answers within us. It's up to us to seek whatever it is that we need to find.
Yeah.
And that's, to me,
choice.
That is a game-changing mindset, to know that if I want to be a billionaire, I can be a billionaire if I want to.
Absolutely.
If I want to be a farmer, if I want to be an electrician, if I want to be a stay-at-home dad, whatever it is that I want to do, I have that ability. And I'm going to take it even further, because I've seen this in my life since applying this, where I've even had companies change policies
to fit what you need.
Yeah, something that I didn't even say out loud. I just thought to myself, I will love if this company does X, Y, Z. That would be so ideal. It didn't happen right away. It took a couple of months, but all of a sudden, press release, this is what we're doing now.
Yeah.
And I can't help but think that this is just my prayer in action. We have so much more power than we're taught to realize, or we're taught in church. Unless we get out of that mindset of begging, of thinking that we're not worthy, or we have to wait for someone to do something for us, we're never going to get it.
To touch on that is because I think we're afraid to come off like we're not being humble. And I think that's very good to differentiate, because knowing that you're worthy of, it's not in a state of I deserve, but it's more so like, if God is dwelling within me, I know I am capable. I know I have, like you said, I know I have the answers. So therefore, I am worthy of getting what it is that I'm desiring if I'm doing the work to do so. Not in a sense of like, oh, I'm better than the next person. I'm better than that person, so I deserve. And I think that's why it gets a little confusing, because a lot of times when you approach conversations in that way, someone else will look at you saying that and think like, whoa, that's not, God doesn't know, that's not God. But it's not in the sense of I deserve or I'm better than, but it's more so confidence in God. It's confidence in knowing that I know you've instilled the things in me so I can do great things with it. Or you've instilled all the skills in me in order for me to do any and everything that I want to do here on land. Like getting into, I know I mention this all the time, but gardening is really like an eye opener. When you get into like gardening and understanding nature, it just makes you see God in a whole different light. Gardening has been a big influence on the way that I view certain things now. But understanding how everything works together, like God has really aligned everything on earth to work together in the weirdest way, makes me understand more how everything within me is there for me to figure out the answers. Did that make sense? I felt like I went in a circle just to say that. Point is, I feel like God has instilled in us all that we need. We just haven't found a way to tap into it to then create and multiply and get the answers that we desire. and praying the right way, because it's not just praying, because sometimes we think that praying is like we're getting on our knees, we're folding our hands, and we're talking to God in that moment. Believe it or not, you're kind of praying all day. You know, it's really just words manifesting life in a weird way. I don't know how else to explain that, but I feel like it's not just on I'm getting on my knees and I'm praying in this moment, but you're doing it throughout the day anyway.
Yeah.
You at least you should. You're doing it throughout the day, and it's not in a way of I'm asking you to do this or I'm begging you to do this, but you're coming from a place of alignment. I feel like I'm not making sense. Hopefully y'all get what I'm trying to say. Praying the right way and aligning it with your work and your action on a regular basis leads you to the answers that you're desiring anyway.
Yeah. And when you think that way, science has proven, kind of like this lady was just saying, it rewires your brain. So sometimes the answers are in front of you, literally. That's something I've adopted, where when I'm praying, I say, show me the answers. I know it's in front of me. There's so many good ideas that are right in front of you, but because of life, you're busy, you're stressed, whatever, you may not see it. And it's not until you're forced into a position that you think to yourself, why didn't I think of this before?
Facts.
So you could start off with that. Something as simple as, I know there are ways to make my life easier. Show me the ways I can make my life easier. Show me the ways I could be a better father, a better mother, a better employee. You know, how to save on, I know economy is tough, how to save on certain things. Something as simple as that is life-changing prayer that you can immediately implement and see changes around you. When I adopted this mindset, I realized that, oh yeah, the answers are already here. Sometimes the toughest
we just don't see them.
Right. Sometimes the toughest thing about prayer is wondering if you're going to get an answer, wondering if you're going to have to wait years and years, you know, before you get some kind of solution. But if you start off with, I know the answer's right here. All I'm asking for, all I'm looking for is for the blinders to be removed.
Right. Clarity. It's clarity. And I think that's where fasting ties in, because a lot of times we fast just for the sake of fasting because we want the job, because we want the bills paid, because we want our health to get better. Look at fasting more so to get the clarity. And the clarity is not to get the answers. The clarity is to get the skills that's going to lead you to the answers, or to have the blinders removed.
Right.
If I'm using the example you're saying,
Right.
have the blinders removed to see what's already there, because it's already there. It's already there. It's already possible. It's already happened. And what I've learned also is if you can envision something, it's because it's already happened.
It's possible.
Yes. Honestly, I'm not even going to say it's possible. I know it might sound crazy. But if you can already see it, if you can already have the vision, it's already done. You just have to figure out how to get from point A to point B, from the point of the thought to the point of the actual thing happening. It already happened. You need to do the application to get you down that road, right? It's kind of like if I'm driving to your house, the destination's already there, right? I just haven't gotten on the road to get there. Your house is already there. I just don't know where your house is. So I'm going to put the address in the GPS, and now I have to then get on the road and drive to your house. That's how I view it now.
I love that analogy.
Oh.
No, I love that analogy because the way we're taught to pray is more so, God, please put that house somewhere, or bring that house to me. God, please bring that house to me. Not thinking that the house is already there. You just got to get in your car and find
there.
a navigation.
Yeah.
And even something as spiritual or amazing as fasting. I used to think about fasting as, if I fast, God's going to look at me like, man, you giving up.
You starving yourself.
You starving yourself for me?
Damn, you gave up social media for a year?
No, I'm going to do something special for you. Don't worry about that. But then I learned the science behind fasting and how when you starve your body, you kill off certain parasites, you kill off certain toxins, your brain flushes toxins out more efficiently, and that's why you get the clarity. Yeah. So again, the answers are already within you. It's not God saying, oh, I see you doing the sacrifice, let me give this to you. No, you're already getting the visions, but the toxins in your body, the parasites in your bodies are preventing you from realizing that you've already received. It's the same thing. Everything is already
connected
within you.
Yep.
The answers, the solution, all you have to do is navigate and find your path.
Facts, facts, facts on facts. Everything is connected. I've said this before. Let me say, some people focus strictly on the physical. Some people focus on the mental and emotional. Some people focus specifically on the spiritual. If you grew up in the church, you're focusing on the spiritual, but you're not focusing on all the other aspects. If you grew up in a home that didn't believe in the faith or whatever the case is, you're probably focusing on the mental, or maybe you're focusing on the physical. I've learned how important it is to focus on all of it simultaneously. You cannot focus on physical and expect changes if you're not focusing on everything else. The same way you cannot focus on your spiritual and not focus on other things and expect things to change. God has created us in all of these forms to make us, right? To make us as a person. So you can't just be like, I bet, so I'm going to start working out, but I'm not going to do anything else and expect everything to fall into place and everything to be great. Everything is connected. So to my fellow Christians out there, because I've watched it in the church, I've watched it growing up. We've watched it a lot, and this is coming from a place of love.
We've lived it, not just watched it.
You know what? Yes, let's say we've lived it, because I sure have. We've lived it, and this is not coming from a space of like we figured it out or whatever the case is, but we're figuring it out as we go. And what I found that helped me a lot, and I pray that it helps you guys too, is realizing that like you cannot pray to God and ask for deliverance or ask for opportunities and you're neglecting your body. You cannot pray to God and neglect your body. You're putting toxin foods in it knowing that they're toxic. You're doing all of these things, or you're not focusing on your mental and emotional. You know that there's something there mentally, but you're just ignoring it. But there's importance in balancing it all. You have to find balance in focusing on all of the areas of you in order to reach the person that you're destined to be, or the person that you could potentially be. A lot of times what's stopping us, it's not the prayers. It's not, oh, we're just praying wrong. It's we're not focusing on everything, right? So we have to focus on everything. The fasting for me, when I understood what fasting does in all aspects, not just the spiritual, but what it does like to the body in general, that's why other faiths fast as well. People fast just for the sake of fasting. Like intermittent fasting, you're giving your body time to heal itself. And that's very important. I feel like I could get carried away and start talking about food. So we're going to cut it right here. But the point is, find balance in focusing in everything. Don't focus just on the praying and the action, but the action is not just in the spiritual. The action is in the physical and the mental as well.
Yep, love that. It's all in you.
Thank you for spending your time with us. We hope you gained some knowledge today that'll promote poise in your life. We have new episodes uploaded every Thursday right here, same place, same time. Until next time, you can follow us on Instagram at NOIRPOISED Podcast to stay connected. That's NOIRPOISED Podcast. We'd love to hear your feedback.
And remember, your wisdom is power.